A huge shout out to the overthinkers. An overthinker, he watches the show.
To the overthinkers, shout out Buffet too.
Thank you, overthinkers.
Keep inspiring the next generation.
Shout out to the overthinkers. Thando kuphela. Much love.
To my overthinkers, mamela ukuchapha ngeke siphume kuyakhula nizi njani ikhokho yazini as overthink siyaovershiya.
I'm stealing that. I've stolen that one. I've stolen it.
Welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is George Mokwena. I am your host, and this is a place where we can come together and speak football, speak about local football, speak about African football, and every now and then we go to Europe. The show is on every Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. You can find me here. We'll be speaking about the matches we watched over the weekends, the matches we watched during the week, but also some big topics around our football that's happening that we need to discuss, and we frankly don't have a lot of places to discuss them. So please join me. And then, of course, if Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, Bafana Bafana, Bafana Bafana, UWC when they're in the Champions League, we're going to be covering those matches live. We have watch along. So this weekend, I'm going to be with you for 7 hours. For the Carling knockout games. So please watch on that side. And if you miss anything and you want to know what happened before and you want to watch the previous episodes, or you want to know what I think about things, head on over to my YouTube channel and you'll be able to find everything that you need on that side about what I'm thinking, what we've spoken about before, and the content that I drop. Guys, please support us content creators. Now, I'm going to ask that today, man, 50,000 Yari likes. Tap the screen. 50,000 is what we're aiming for. And yeah, please guys, support. Now, on to what we're going to talk about today. Today is a very simple topic. Yesterday we saw Congo playing Bafana Bafana, and the game ended 1-1. This is a Congo team, of course, that we had beaten 5-0 just the Friday before. And there was a lot of expectations coming into this game to see whether we could repeat what we had done to them in South Africa away in Congo. Now, it's a different place. It's an away game on artificial turf. So we saw Utemba Zwane getting injured. Unfortunately, he might be out for some months, according to Hugo Broos. So that is a bit tough. We didn't play our best. Congo did come out, and those five players that they had not brought along to South Africa really did make a difference for this team when they did face us over there, Go Brazzaville. The stats are as follows. Congo had 14 shots, 3 on target. South Africa had 15 shots, 4 on target. We had 57% of the possession versus 43%. And we are currently number 2 in Group K. For the AFCON qualifiers. So guys, remember, very interactive show. So if you want to add your voice to one of my panels and want to speak to me and tell me what you think about the game, then please, you have to be following me on TikTok. Bottom of your screen, there's a button that says multi-guest. Click on that button. I let you in. You tell me what you think. There is a timer so that we can all respect each other as speakers on the panels. Everybody, each panel gets 25 minutes. Each speaker will get 5 minutes. I'll give you a chance to speak, and then I'll ask you a question or two to follow up on something that you had said. Let's go ahead and get straight into the first panel. So feel free to jump in and request. Bottom of your screen, multi-guest. You have to be following me. But Solanka, man, I'm just going to go ahead and start with Ukumo. Kumo, how are you?
I'm in mourning. I'm not sharp.
Why are you in mourning? What's happening? Heaven.
Tambazwana, my bra.
Maruto Bashapo, man.
After many months, what if I got any more forming Ella happy? But anyway.
Hi. Kuma, 1-1. How did you feel about that game?
My bra, it's like I get sharp again. They can't get out of the dstv, but hey, grouping, it's fine. So, kind of, who was in charge of Jewish like broadcasting the TV? Nali SABC, CAF or Supersport or Renewal TV?
I think it was New World.
Why selecting a team here can this company? The reason why I what's so on my bra and I'm used to the 4K, the HD. Now, I was squinting as if like I was watching through one of those Facebook things. I didn't enjoy it from a visually point of view. Where Hey, Mara CAF needs to do better, man. Got the regulations. See, all of this artificial pitch thing, I sharp because of why. But look at Temba. Temba is old. He can't be running around on a bouncy castle. All the game, my point. Sansiba make sure if you don't have a pitch, grass in all of the requirements. Are going to Dubai here? Go neutral venue. They can have their home games to go on the stadium. Or not that I want because of the thing my bra. When we talk about the football play itself, there wasn't much to really say because no one stood out. It was like I don't know, like everyone was bad. And we could have won the game had Mokwena took all his chances. I cannot blame he redeemed himself. Mara now, because we love making it difficult for ourselves to qualify for any tournament. The only easy fruit is when we buy the tournament for like carry hoster, World Cup or AFCON. Why you don't have to do anything to qualify? No, we're gonna play Uganda away. I guess sure ruina rega draw because of Narabates but Varina. Back to the Bafana Bafana. Now Sanzer Nahan, okay, get calculated season. So if Congo Sanzer Congo lose because like the other one behind us. You see, I want to get them board. I thought we were long past that stage. Calculate. We could have easily won that game if we up and we're taking our chances. Like I get sharp, but sometimes
guys, please mute Conti.
Tends to do the khanye in position. It's about Tovating. Where was Moby playing yesterday? Like Moreno.
He playing playmaker.
Now because of everyone had because I get amnesty like that. As she found a little more like it was a ambulance. We relay. West part I get name what the Gomora had to ask him and the quality was low. I wonder we relay. I'm not trying relaying. There was nothing home to write about. So, guys, we're really gonna miss some shish. And unfortunately, Hastings, Awira Ahly, and the people that they bring to replace him, yes, we can't judge him. Can do one game,
But then tell me, Kumo, shouldn't we be worried then that at the national team level, one injury, one person goes out or two people go out, now we are all shaking? Isn't that a worry? And shouldn't we have been planning for something like this?
Worry for but soweto. Nara ituru kwa botashik mo see. I hear like
national team.
Like I really feel like Benton but the 2000 number 10 because of pressure, peer pressure. Okasti to asimo formo logo pirate the limso Bafana Bafana. Well, the real Hale, what demand sometimes from the law Claranyana. Sometimes he gets it right on his day, Kera our coach. But he can also get it so very wrong because of peer pressure. We took in Timboranga and affair.
Okay.
But I mean, we still have a good chance of qualify.
I hope I haven't taken this thing out in a while. I hope we don't need to use it, but it's fine. Let me go to Agent. Agent, my brother, welcome to the show. How are you?
What Tito? What Tito? I'm good, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm okay. Agent, 1-1 with Congo. How do you feel about this game?
I think we were, what would Doleza say? We were criminally underprepared for this game. Criminally so. Because firstly, you're gonna play on an artificial pitch.
Yeah.
You requested the squad early. which means you wanted to do extra preparations. What did you do in those preparations? Mind you, only Stellis and Paris players didn't come that early. But either way, not or some otherwise, they didn't matter in the starting lineup. So what did you do with the extra time that you got?
Yeah.
That's the first thing on artificial pitch. Second, what did you do in terms of preparation for the national team? And to sidetrack a bit, there's a reason why an old coach like Umangowa brings in a young coach like, let me say Pitso brings in a young coach like Rulani, A coach Mangoba brings in a coach like Falls. Because you could see that, did they do enough video analysis? Who is the video analyst for Bafana? Did they do their homework on the team? It literally took me 10 minutes to see that this team is missing 4 key players. It literally took me 10 minutes to see, okay, this player plays like this, plays this, just by watching quick YouTube channel, YouTube videos, okay, that guy's good, okay. So this guy's able to make a difference. And that is a by the way thing. So as a video analyst, as an assistant coach, as a senior coach, what were you guys preparing for? Either way, you won 5-0. Yeah.
No. I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you: is this Bafana team flexible? Is Broos flexible enough to even have a plan B, plan C, or change? I mean, we saw Foster go out and Reina's come in and he's out of it. Tembazwane gets injured and everything changes. Do we have, flexibility?
Defense-wise, we do. I mean, I know we are blaming him for the substitutions. I think he saw that we're facing a very dangerous team. Yeah. We came underprepared. So let's shut the back door, So I think defense-wise, we have a plan B. But attacking-wise, I doubt, And I'm forgetting the specific term for this, but when you're so dependent on something, the one time that it goes, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
And how many years did it take Sundowns to try and replace Zwane, and only for them to bring them back into the loop? It's only now that with Ribeiro that you can say we are worried but not that worried, So I feel that dependency is also creeping to Bafana, that do you have a plan B? And where's Bafana? You don't have 2 weeks or 12 months to prepare for post Bafana or after Zwane. So I'm not worried about qualification. I'm worried to qualify. But what are we going to do in AFCON? Are we going to add numbers? Can we at least reach semis at the very least? I highly doubt without Zwane. I don't think would even make... I don't know. Do you have a round of 16? If you have a round of 16, I doubt we'll go to the quarterfinals. If you quarterfinals straight after group stages, I doubt we'll go to the semifinals. That's what right now. But AFCON, we should lower expectations because the engine is gone, and you should accept it. Yeah, thank you.
Let me go to Conti. Cornelius, welcome to the show. How are you? Conti, are you with me?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm good at you. Okay.
No, I'm good. Cornelius, 1-1. Congo, South Africa. How do you feel about this game?
Yeah, I think the boys, they tried, considering that the pitch is small and they were playing not on the grass. And also, I just want to say there was a game of Nigeria versus Congo, which was the World Cup qualifying, and FIFA said they mustn't play in the same ground. So they played at the DRC Congo. I don't know why. They say South Africa, Bafana versus this Congo must play in that ground because it was too risky for the players. But in any way, I think our boys, they tried, considering the atmosphere, the crowd, and the way the way the organization of the opposition, the way they were coming at us, especially when you saw that when Motaung was moving forward, there was a confusion there with Kekana and also Obas not tracking a little bit back to help him, and Dotley also not covering. But overall, I think everybody tried, and also I just want to touch on a topic that has been on social media about Tito. I think Tito has been, a lot has been said about Tito, especially about Bagania supporters wanting Tito to play, and there's nothing wrong about that. But I think supporters put Tito under pressure because these players, they've got phones, and they go on social media. So if you look at Tito, some of the videos of Bafana Bafana, he didn't really look that happy. And also yesterday, I didn't really see, we don't expect Tito to perform at the highest level of Themba Zwane, but we need him to have an output of Tito, the best of Tito. But he really tried to give it to play yesterday, but I think he was a little bit scared, but I don't think he had a bad game, as people said on social media. And I don't think we could fault out Tito for yesterday's result. I mean, the boy hasn't had minutes at Bafana Bafana level. And remember, Tito is a player that hasn't played CAF. So I think we're a bit unfair. Tito only played a friendly 90 minutes to Andorra, and now he only played yesterday. So I think as South Africans, we need to be patient to our players, and also we need an option besides Tito. If Tito also gets injured or something happens to him, then what? You understand? Because we relied a lot on Themba Zwane. So I think Coach Hugo Broos needs now to have a pool of players that he can use on friendly games. Abu Hlongwane, they're doing well in USA. You have other players, Abu Saleng, all those type of players, and our taking. And another thing that concerned me, I thought Hugo Broos was going to choose Umabasa in this game to go with him because now he had that option because Lyle Foster was injured. So he had 22 men. He could have taken Umabasa because he was part of preliminary squad. He could have taken him just as he took Obas and the other cheaper player. So he could have taken Mabasa. That game, when it was not working out, Umabasa was going to give us a different dimension, because you saw that the way Reyners was drifting to come and collect the balls, and that's not the Reyners type of play. Reyners likes to get into the lines, take runs, and and we try to play those. We call it the direct football, the evidence Makopa type of football of Hugo Broos, and it didn't really work out well for us yesterday. But I can't falter the coach.
Can I just ask very quickly for the last minute here? Do we have a problem with team selection at Bafana Bafana that Tito has been with the team for a very long time, but hasn't been chosen to play these games? Now when we need him, you start seeing that there's a lot of players who have been with the squad for a long time, but they're just not ready to come in. Are we starting to see that maybe Broos must trust others at times?
I believe Coach Hugo Broos needs to trust them. Who knows, even Jaden Adams, maybe the boy just said, what am I going to do to Bafana Bafana? Why am I going? Because I'm going to sit on the bench. I'm not going to be chosen. You know that thing. So I think Hugo Broos himself needs to give these players a chance, and he needs to build that competition. And when tomorrow Utebo Mokwena gets injured, or he's not performing, who are you gonna put? You need to play Abu Leroux. You need to give other players a chance. We need to have a pool of players so that we can know that if these players are not playing, at least we have a 33 sort of players who can come in and play. So I think it's a little bit unfair, like for you only relying on the first 14 players. That your first 11, you're going to replace, you're going to have Umorena come in, you're going to have Umufuken come in last 10 minutes. So you need to play Abu Tito, you need to play all these players that he calls them in. Because really, when you look at for AFCON, for now, with the type of performance that we had yesterday, we really struggled, and we were suffering a lot of the times. We were not holding the ball. We were not combining well. It was too much pressure. We were too much pressurized yesterday.
For time.
So you will, yeah.
For time, Conti, for time. Sorry, for time. Just to be fair to everybody that's going to come in. Thank you, Conti. Let me go to Vuyo. Vuyo, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, my brother. How are you? Thank you for the opportunity, brother.
Minangimnandi, man. Vuyo. Vuyo, 1-1. Congo, Bafana Bafana. How did you feel about that game?
They done well. We need to give credit. Look at the swimming pool they are playing in. Those swimming pool OT can give you injuries. Not even a proper artificial turf. I don't know what you can call. This FIFA, can they test this ground before they give us any ground to play? That thing, bruh, is very dangerous for players. I don't know what is it. Yeah, they fought. I think they must create credit. Balwile blind in fact, yeah. And Hugo Broos wenze kahle kupaka ibhasi athathe 1 point abuye nawo. That's all. Wenza kanje mangabe kubi OT. Awuqhuba ama ego ungathi wazi kakhulu. Akudlaleki. Akudlaleki egroundini. Uyabona akudlaleki. Udlala icarpet football. Uzodlala kuphi? Nguphi ozodlala khona? Bayapressa lincane le ground kuyashelela lapha phansi. So OT they play very well for me.
Manje, tell me, Vuyo, how long is the artificial turf going to be an excuse? Because we're still going to play a lot of these games. Can we prepare? Is there a way for a national team to get ready for those type of games, or must we just hope that something happens? Must figure. Con.
No, let's say create a fanana layer as now OT. Because last time I checked in Night Center, it better, it good than their artificial layer. They artificially worse OT. It worse. Angazi ukuthi njani. But it worse. O ingathi finally yase Eswatini ngeke ngadlala kiyo. Ifanele yase Eswatini awafani ama quality akho.
Yeah.
So le high it worse OT. Yabona if awudlalanga artificial high out swimming pool OT, swimming pool. Ibhola mayibhamba, it change direction. Iyashisa. That thing is worse OT. Angisheli anyone to play kiyo. Angumusheli anyone to play here. Actually excuse OT. Yeah. I'm telling you the truth. Actually excuse outcome. Artificial.
Mara so pila scala. Ngoba skalile Rwanda when I think we lose to Rwanda. Saya South Sudan Sakala. So pila scala. Because it's just that most of the other countries are artificial.
Kumele siyojima lapha eNike Center, but awafani problem yami. Awafani. Yabona. Kukhona right, ikhona amanye hey. Yabona neTP Mazembe hayi. You struggle modela neTP Mazembe. Angiwish nje ukuthi Sundowns ibiyele lapho. Because our players they will end up ama injuries, ankle injury, amadolo yonke lento le. Because akubalanseki la iphansi OT. Akubalanseki, so lento le it's not good for football.
Manje with the last time here, do you think that Bafana Bafana is flexible? That we can play Foster ngekho, we can play Umshisha ngekho, Mokwena ngekho? Or are we too reliant kula play?
Mokwena no ubani?
No, ngisho angithi sine starting lineup. And then if any of those players abozwana bomokwena can get injured or something, are we flexible enough? Ngama options were to a bench in, or is it the team in general?
Yeah. You know that question OT we can have sit decide lane. We are kumbulu ukuthi sidila nobani. UBruce uyamazi ukuthi stubborn kanjani. He's very stubborn that guy. Amazi uzocabangani but I think le ngamla bekayifake center last game le. Ayadlala le iyadlala. Iyadlala le manga ifaka as a playmaker le inga create something. Idlala straightforward football, talented uyayibona. Idlala basics football. So mawungayifaka as a playmaker ungathola something. Naye mina intwana yazi ngibhilivela kuyo ukuthi ngasikreatela ama chances. Yabona Umfukeni. Ngiyanibona nonke ngikhuluma ngokuthi Umfukeni can play kuma passage. Umfukeni is very skillfully. Umfukeni angasithwala uthi ngiyakutshela that boy is very talented. He's very but mina I'm happy because of Uzwane. Sekamdala manje yabona. I'm happy so that sizobona ne Tito FC ukuthi vele Tito uyayideserve na lento le abe expose nge11 next month ukuthi vele yena uyamenyezwa mahala o vele umnandi yabona because manje isikhathi manje kumele adlale kumele adlale makadlale uTito makadlale umfukeni mabadlale mabanika game time siyekeni ukukhuluma too much yabona sinikeze Tito FC chance because bekuraswa la ukuthi Tito this Tito that Tito, you wait for any national team, you wait for your chance.
Yeah.
No matter talented kangakanani. It's only Neymar, it's only Messi, it's only Ronaldo. Deserve collab, ba select badla. But the rest of the people in the world, they will fight for a position here.
Okay, for time, Buyo. I'm gonna jump in. Guys, please, tap the screen. We're going for 60,000. We're going for 60,000 likes. Tap the screen, it is free. Next panel is gonna start just now. I just want to steal some time here. Also, there's a gifting thing here. Please, guys, send on my gift, man. Okay, so I just want to say, a couple of months ago, we had this conversation about the Bafana Bafana team. And the question I was asking was, do we have a secondary team that is strong enough to come in? And I'm not saying that the first team plays badly or whatever, but when things like this happen where you're losing players, do we have people who, one, have been with the team for a very long time, but two, have actually played? I think a lot of the time now we're seeing those players jump in Kari last minute, and they're saying that these guys must now all of a sudden find rhythm, play well, beat the Congo away on artificial and all of that stuff. Utito's situation right now for me is no different to what happened with Khanye Samayo, for example. A player who was called up knowing that maybe he doesn't fit the scheme or hasn't been given time, and he was given his shot one game and then he was gone the other games. We saw what happened with Abo Velimotwa, right? Who came in and they were not ready when they came in, and you start asking questions about these people that we've been bringing along all this time. Are they just there to be great characters in the change room and not necessarily players who can come in and impact the game? Now, I don't want to go too far into the negative. Congo, we played away to Congo. We came back with a point. I don't think that's too bad. A lot worse that could have happened. But I think some of the problems that we've seen over the past few games, being saved by Mbata last minute twice, not necessarily creating that many chances. Fine, the 5-0 came along, which was set pieces, two set pieces and a wonder goal. Then later on the game broke down. Fine. But are we now seeing some of the things that we need to fix later on? But let me get into the next panel, and we can go from there. Okay, so guys, please, Tata Scream, please, let's go and see how many of these things we can get. Thank you so much to Papa Hosi and Gocha. Let me just put in the next panel. Malume Kutso, I'm going to let you start since you've got a game now.
Saying prepare, Mr. OT. Okay. Right decision to VAR. Must be in the top, but nonetheless, we are here to do the job.
How did you feel about that game?
You know what, Mr. Uti? Personally, I'm impressed with decision making. Sundowns could have been either in the final or CAF Champions 2 seasons ago. If the coach, someone said it, if the coach did not have, and I say this with the utmost respect, a big ego.
Okay.
If the coach was able to say, I aklangani today, mina nyavala. At some point, Sundowns had to make some defensive changes, and unfortunately, they couldn't. Yesterday, we saw a big coach who has an AFCON title, who has just won 5-0 the previous game, concede and say, as in, Meleng Vale. I think that shows a greater level of being a human being and being humble, in as much as we accuse him of arrogance and all.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to point out, Mr. Uti, is that this guy literally has a new player in every kind of game call-up season. Yet we somehow accuse him of not giving people chances. make it make sense. Apparently, he holds the record of the coach who has given the most debuts and has used the most players during his tenure. And really, if you think about it, Talent Mbata, well, it was his debut last time. This time, Abokwaiba. Even if you go back, you'll find Abumfuking. You go back to another period, you'll probably find about Dudley. The guy is continuously and consistently giving players a chance. He's just not giving our favorites maybe a consistent chance. But if you find a chance in life, Hugo Broos will give you that chance, Mr. Uti, if you're doing well. You know? So let us be fair, Mr. Uti. And I think yesterday, Tito grabbed the chance with both hands. Played with his usual personality. I think that's another aspect you should check for a player. Is it a sink or swim? Does Bafana swallow him? Does he become a different player? But he was the player he is, Go Pirates. He was as demanding. He was as vocal. He was as adventurous. Unfortunately, the team Mazi as much. There were a couple of stray passes. But I've said this before. If there's one thing that Pirates is not used, is Tito's ability to creep into the box. And I think yesterday we almost saw it. Unfortunately, the ball was played behind him. Had that ball been played with precision, we could have been saying Tito Uswinisile, Mr. Uti. You understand? When it comes to Utsehofatso Mabasa, Mr. Uti, I think this speaks to the fact that we want certain people to be favored. When it comes to Utsehofatso Mabasa, he knows what the coach wants.
Yeah.
We know what the coach wants from a striker. And he gives the opposite of that, Mr. Uti. Reyners, Makhopa, and Lyle Foster are three different strikers with the same characteristics, your pressure, defense. We do not play on the front foot on the continent, Mr. Uti. Yesterday, Mabasa could have been -1 for those who wanted him in that game. A game where we are pinned against the wall. I'm a Pirates fans, even the Pirates coach knows, Uti. When the game is tough and we know which we won't have authority over the game, Sundowns, Stellenbosch, we play Makhopa from the grandstand, Mr. Uti, from the injury. From the injury table, we bring in Makhopa because we know he's going to press. You understand? Mabasa, goal poacher, very nice. If we're playing against Namibia, if we're playing against Zimbabwe, give me Mabasa anytime. But if we're going away, Mr. OT, if we're playing a crucial game, I don't think he's a risk worth taking at the moment. And let's not forget, Mina, as a Pirates supporter as well, I'm still happy. Mabasa was called by Hugo Broos before, for those who don't know. And man, people are not keeping track with Bafana Bafana. Mabasa was called by Hugo Broos, and I think he only played something like 25 minutes and was subbed off because he was still stagnant. He was just there. And maybe I'm substitute, Mr. OT. His career took a deep dive into the ocean. He never came back. He took something like 2 years to recover from that first half sub by Hugo Broos, Mr. Uti. Do you want the... So I think it's more responsible of Hugo Broos to exclude him now, knowing what the relationship between him and Mabasa can yield. It can yield the end of...
well, I wanted to ask, just for this last time here, I wanted to ask, isn't that the problem? The problem is that Abu Mabasa, yes, he's given a lot of caps to people, but a lot of these players have one time that they've played or twice that they've come in and then they never came back to Bafana. They don't have the time to grow. And then by the time we need them again, like for example, Lutito has been with the team for a very long time. But when you look at the number of caps and the number of time he's actually had to play, you start going, how much time has he had to grow into this team that now we are calling on him? Isn't that the issue? That yes, he's giving a lot of people chances, but there's people who have 80% of the caps and then 20% is a bunch of ones. Everybody has ones. Then when it comes time to call them, we all go, this one is not worth it. But when you look at the time, it's like, oh, they haven't had any opportunities really.
Look, I hear you and I appreciate the point you're putting across. So from how I see it, the glass is half full, half empty. You understand? You are correct in certain instance, but in another instance, you're also incorrect in the sense of which Roshan Dudley has felt like a hand to glove and he is now a fixture in that squad. If you think about it, why this time we needed so many players or we look like we need players? We didn't have Yaya Stoll. We didn't have Mbata, and we didn't have many other players. However, Abu Mokwena have been given a chance, and today they command that position. Our police have been given a chance, and today they command that position. Ngezana is out injured. So who do you call Krankekana? So Krankekana is actually back up to Ngezana if we look at the trajectory of the past 3 games. But Krankekana was able to fit in. Some players, unfortunately, cannot fit in, Mr. OT. And it's the national team. It's the nature of this beast that sometimes you have to sink or swim immediately. But I will say Mokwena, as much as he's not the favorite, Bantu, he is taking like a duck to water when it comes to that right wing position, and he has managed to replace Upesitao. He's getting those chances, he's getting those goals. Abo Reynas are assisting, and unfortunately, striker, Mr. Oti, we've got an issue with Mahopa has been injured, Lion Foster is injured. Reynas is literally, if we're being honest, 4th choice striker for Hugo Broos, because we know in that line, it's Foster, it's Mahopa, it's Lepasa, and then it's Reynas. I think Hugo Broos has been able to supplement his squad quite well. Last, Luke Leroux has been playing for the Luke Leroux has been playing for the national team for the longest time, guys. He's not new. He was just injured for a long time. Thank you, Mr. Oti.
Time sake. Let me bring in Velile. Velile, Mtaka Baba.
Buff.
How are you?
Siqolele ukuthi vele ngono sihambe singana strike kana nokubiza umabasa ngoba kafit. Ngono sihambe singanaso vele. Sihambe si-empty.
Ubone njani game Velile?
Hayi bengibuza nje ngono vele singabi shoot the way siphuwa ngakhona. Ngono vele South Africa. Hayi usuke niyinkombo lo maxolo vele ngcono ngabi namuntu.
Yeah.
Ngenxa ukuthi yanifiti. Hayi siyabonga. Hey, mntakaba manje ngibingelela abafowethu la kupanel. Hey, wasenza ubaba kaBhamuza. Baba kaBhamuza wasenza ngoba imisebenzi yakhe yonke le evulela wonke lawo mavukuvuku lawo. Athe uTito ekseni kusemini nantambama nanoma nje kungenxa kaTito ukuthi Bafana iwina ngizolo is because of Tito ukuthi uTebogo Mokwena couldn't hit direct free kick 3 times engajumpanga iwall. It's because of Tito ukuthi la ngwenye isprint yashiya ma defend yakora sabarobha nebhola. It's because of Tito ukuthi ungene yabo Nyiko Mobina bo Sibisi. Yo Jehovah. But siyabonga man umdlalo a draw away from home, like as I've said yesterday. It's a beautiful thing. Sizoyithatha angeke siyiphikise as much as we might have our own differences, no coach, in terms of selection and also in terms of how he applies his tactics. Because kwesinye isikhathi kuyomele sike silikhulume iqiniso. Noma sithanda singathandi ukuthi yes umdala ufikile yena. And then as much as people are praising him, tactics wakhe, amanye ama-player, they are fitting into his own system or none. But do we have to ask ourselves, is there really a system or there is really Sundowns players that are used to their system that they are playing in a team which manage so bronze or qualify the same rhythm of the players are Sundowns? Sometimes when have we really seen really technical acumen ka-coach wethu? Because asikwazi ukuthi singavele sivume nje kuyimele sivume ngenxa ukuthi siyawathola ama-results lapho nalapho. If we look at the technical acumen, ama-draws amanye sinawo ebekungamelanga sibe nawo if our coach managed to bring on the good players or the deserving players on the national team. Because we cannot put in Nyiko Mobi and play him like as a winger. It's an insult to ama-wingers adlala ku-PSL or South African wingers mangathi siyabala akhona. Unyiko usemuva kabi. So sometimes kuyomele siyithathe, it mustn't take it with a pinch of salt and does really Broos brought this thing together in terms or this momentum carried in from the Sundowns performance in terms of the Champions League, as it did sometimes now 96 when the Pirates won the African Champions League Cup, and then momentum continued to 96 in Bafana up until even we qualified even for a World Cup. Yeah. So angazi but mina ngisasho kuyomele sizibuze kanti futhi kuyomele sizifundise futhi ukuba patient nakhona criticize bona abadlali bethu, because Thembazwane has played 50 games, got 50 caps for national team. Some of us said, they don't remember even his first 10 games. But we are so quick to judge a player that have been introduced and only played 2 games. And as a national team coach, you cannot give a player a chance for 20 minutes and never call him back and come up with excuses. A friendly match of which your regular players are not playing. Which all of those players that were playing in that match, you're giving them a chance. Take that player again and put him in a situation like this. Mokwena, police, and see how will he perform. And not say rubbish would perform, it doesn't fit in, but we have played him with the players that we're giving them chance. No, sometimes we need to be fair and also criticize where we need to criticize.
And that's where
opportunity, yeah.
No, and that's what I wanted to ask about. Ngoba Nkumbula, I remember saying this thing, and last year sometime when I was speaking about this, Guti. Now, when we need guys, we have a ton of players, Manvelile. We've got 1 cap, 2 caps. Mara agna muntu ozongena. And maybe now, Nangu Velibotwa is out of the team, right? He's been with the team for 2 years. He has a bad match, you take him out. Siyabona Guti, for example, Ageko ready. Now you've taken him out. I asked the question, Guti, didn't you waste all that time? Because we could have had a Mayo ready to play right now if they persisted with him. Similar to Reyners, the way they persisted Ngayo Reyners. But then when we look at this squad set to Yachampiwa, Umbata Uchampu Adams, for example, and not to say that Mbata's a bad player, but Umbata Uchampu Adams. In the defense, Ukon Usbisi, who's been sitting at the bench the whole time, by Amchampa. So what then becomes the point of having Abu Spisi for 2 years in the team, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a matter of coach believing good material and the players that he select. Remember, that's why I've asked you before, Guti, this preliminary thing, squad, what's the use of it? Because they're not training, they just select them and then you're going to select Abanye based on that. And then come a time where you have to select those players. So yeah, our coach of Ulando sometimes but you had the preliminary squad there. Or not even choosing them. I've asked before, what was the use? Was if a coach believes in you and he shows that authority, you know what? I believe but our coach has failed on that side in terms of management and the players. He has been too emotional and also when addressing those issues, when they question him about a journalist, what was the reason for that player? No, that player doesn't fit over, but that player will give. But we have never done that. A player, a soccer player, you know how soccer players are. You as a coach, you need to show good lalela for it. As much as people might not agree with you, I do believe in you. I'm gonna put you with the best players and the best. Look our police, they were lucky. They were given a debut, qualifying matches, and they throw in the deep ends. The coach believe in them. Look at him now. You can see our police with this national team player. When he plays, he just believes in himself. Because you know, you've got the support of the coach. But if we are Dala and now we are feeling in a way good, someone knows a mistake. But we are playing because already you know what I don't believe 100% behind me. Just because good way. Our coach need to stand his ground and support Wonkama players who are equally. And and believe in them all. So we still need to see him besides I'm a player with Sundowns. I still want to see him. Because you cannot convince. I've seen Sundowns beating he waited at Casablanca. I've seen Sundowns humiliating Ahly, like CAF Champions League. Those players are the ones that are playing for our Bafana Bafana. So mina ngisabone wona angikamboni umkhulu ukuthi mhlambe usasiphatheleni yena. Ukuya phambili mhlambe sizazombona sizamjaja khona. Asazi.
Okay, no.
Besingakafiki number 3 sine-bronze kuphela even won anything. Singabehave as if like we have done something special. No sijwayele abethought molota bawawini. Nobaba kaBhamuza wawini isiliva le eBurkina Faso. So nothing special yet.
Okay. For time, Benile. Let me bring in TK. TK, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm fighting you, Mr. OT. Yeah, really thankful for the opportunity. I'd like to greet the panel and everybody on the live.
Hey, no stress. Welcome. Hey.
Yeah, Mina, what I want to touch on is what you've been talking about this whole time, about the coach not being sort of consistent with players. And now I've noticed one thing is that his squad set, because of that, it hasn't been it hasn't been not consistent, more like it hasn't been flexible in terms of the way they play. The way they play. So, for example, I remember one interview with Gavin when they were interviewing Gavin Hunt. They were saying that when you play in Africa, you must also know how to play ugly football, if you can understand what I'm saying. You must also know how to play ugly football, because only having a lot of Sundowns players, we know Sundowns players are, the Sundowns team is a team that plays ball playing. It's a ball playing team.
Yeah.
So when you come to these type of situations where you play in artificial pitch, the pitch is small, it's not easy for you to move the ball around. Because I was looking at our center backs in the match. They were so close to each other. The pitch was so congested that we couldn't even string passes properly. You also find out when the ball gets to Ronan Williams, he would just put the ball up, find the wingers for himself, because there's no space in the middle for the players to play properly. So that's why I'm saying that maybe in the future, if a team, we need like players from different teams that have like sort of different playing philosophy. For example, I would like to touch on the Kevin Hunt, where he when he plays in CAF football, Kaizer Chiefs didn't play pretty football, but they ended up in the final of the CAF Champions League because Chiefs was able to play sort of a disorganized football. And also we need strong big players, strong big number 9s, strong midfielders as well. Not just people who can just always 10 players. We need people who are able to bully these African players, because every time we were on the ball, especially on that pitch, we were bullied off the ball. If you notice, we were always bullied off the ball. And Mina, what I wanna ask is, when they were doing match preparations, do players know what type of boots they should be wearing on those type of pitches? Because when I went up to look up what type of boots our players are supposed to use, it is AB boots. AB boots are boots what do they call the game?
Studs.
The studs. The studs aren't so. The boot looks like it. So and also the reason, and also that on those type of boots also, when for example the likes of Motaung CAF, the reason why Motaung CAF couldn't lift those balls for a free kick was because of I can also blame the pitch. Because normally when you play on grass, your foot can dig into the pitch for you to go under the ball. But when you're on an artificial pitch, you cannot really go under the ball. You almost all the time kick the ball directly. That's why we couldn't get Amapola over the walls. You understand? Yeah. So
how do we remedy this? Because this is not going to be the last time it's born artificial. We've seen artificial a few times, and we've struggled the whole time. How can Hugo Broos and maybe Safa and whoever attack this problem?
Well, Mina, I feel like by putting procedures, regulations, that whenever we encounter artificial pitches, we should educate the players, educate the team on what to wear, the gear, how to prepare for the pitch. So how Safa can tackle that, it's really up to them, because they're the people who have the scientists, they're the people who have the football psychologists, etc. You see, so on that, it's really, really based on Safa. But what I would like, Mina, is that educating the players, because I'm sure some players, they're not really, especially your new call-ups to the national teams. Those players, I'm a deal with football brands and stuff. Uthola player yona ithanda amaboots wakhe, and they refuse to wear the correct boots in the right type of playing surface. So Isafa should focus on educating player and implementing procedures in match preparation regarding that.
Okay, no. TK, thank you so much. Let me bring in Vusi. Vusi, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, OT, how's it, man? I'm good, and yourself, man?
Man, I'm good. Vusi, 1-1. How do you feel about this game?
OT, let me be, I'm a Chiefs fan, but let me be a typical South African fan. First of all, OT, we played the game on Friday, right? A game that we dominated, we scored goals. When did we travel to Congo? Saturday. Obviously, we couldn't go on Friday. We couldn't leave on Friday. We left then on Saturday, traveling. The next thing, when you get to Congo, you play in the artificial pitch. I'm not making an excuse for the players, but those things count at some point because you need to rest. The players need to rest. They played Friday. They needed to rest at least, but they didn't rest. They had to travel. And why I'm saying I'm not making excuse for these players, because if all these players, most of them are local players, and they do play in that artificial pitch in Soweto. Most of them, I think they do on their spare time. They do play indoors, and it's all artificial pitch.
Yeah.
So my point here, OT, is our players got us a point. I always say we are so spoiled that as if someone told us that any team is just a walkover. No, it's not like that. As much as we prepare our team, the opponents also prepared their teams against us. So when we get a point, let's celebrate the point. We are playing away. We are playing in the rubbish pitch. So why are we crying? And I want to come to this Maswangai thing. You know what, OT? Sometimes we look for like with Tito, the Pirates fans have been calling him to play in the national team.
Yeah.
The opposition fans, they will look for any loophole, any mistake that Tito will make, will come and say, you see, Tito is not fit to play for the national team. Why? It's because the Pirates fans ask for him, and as opposition fans, we are looking for that. How old is Zwane? He's 35. Where was he when Tulane Serrero, Andile Chalu were playing? He couldn't fit there. And people were not calling for him. But now, because he's 35 now, you can't tell me he's good, very good, don't get me wrong. But where was he all this time? He couldn't replace Tulane Serrero in that team. But now we are expecting Tito to replace Mshishi overnight. While is there in the national team not playing? How do you expect the guy to perform when the rest of the team was not performing yesterday? I mean, we are saying to Tito he's not good enough, he's like that, but I mean, like the whole team yesterday was defending. So you expect him to go alone to do whatever he does here in local? No, you can't. Get Tito to start the game.
No. I'm gonna give you some extra time. I'm gonna be fair. Don't worry.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask. But how much of this lands on Hugo Broos? Because I think the complaint from the Pirates fans was that you can't keep taking Tito to these games, and then when it's 4-0 and there's time for him maybe to come in, get into the squad and be a little bit better, get into the run of things. Now you're no longer playing him, he's not coming in, and they were crying, seeing Abombata jumping, Abomfukeng jumping him. Isn't this maybe a bigger conversation about Bafana Bafana and the selection, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that goes back again to my point, OT. I don't know if you remember when I said, is the coach choosing Tito because of the fans, or is he choosing him because he needs him in the national team? That's the question also we should look at, because sometimes we as fans, we put the pressure on the coach, and the coach decide to say, okay, let me just bring him in for the sake of noise. You understand? But I don't want this player. I'm just bringing in this player for the sake of the fans, because they are making noise. They are busy asking me to choose this player. So I think if we can find a solution there, then we will understand. And sorry to say, I'm an old school, but I'll take you back. You know the Ronaldo of Brazil.
Yeah.
The Ronaldo of Brazil, when they played the first World Cup, he was not playing, but he was in the team. Come 2002, he was shining. So for Tito to be in the national team, he mustn't like take it as if he's not playing, he mustn't take it like, I know I'm just here to be an ice boy. No, he's not. He there, learn what the national team is all about, and learn against other guys. You see, you've got this, mostly the crop of the national team is the Sundowns. So it's easy for a Sundowns player to play in that national team. I think Hugo Broos is what he's doing now. When he brings in the player, he mostly bring this player from Sundowns because he knows he's not going to struggle because he's got already the rhythm with the Sundowns players. Like a player like Maseko, for example, when he was at Supersport, he never chose him. But once he went to Sundowns, he went to fetch him and he was playing.
Okay, no.
So for him, it's the rhythm, I think.
Time's sake, Musi. For time's sake, for time's sake.
Okay, we'll see you on Thursday. There was something that I wanted to ask, but we'll see on Thursday.
Thank you, Musi.
Thank you, man.
Guys, please touch the screen. We're halfway to where I want us to be. Could you please get to 60,000? And thank you for everybody giving gifts. Can we please keep it up? Okay, what I wanted to say about this thing, my issue is not about players getting chances. My issue is there's certain players in the Bafana setup that have been with the Bafana setup since Hugo Broos took over or since around those times. So they've been there the whole time. But when you look at the caps and you look at those type of things, you're sitting with players who own 3 or 4 caps. You're sitting with players who don't play for Bafana Bafana for a while. They've got the tracksuits, they do all the stuff, they travel, but they're there, right? And then I asked the question that, what is the point of bringing those guys along and having them for 2 years if they don't get actual match time? And by the time you call them to come in, now it's a do or die. Utito feels like a do or die, even though he's been with the squad for a long time. And I don't know, Pirates fans, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the fight was, Utito is one of the better players in our league. He's been with Bafana Bafana. He's been sitting on that bench. Chalita 4-0, or we have a friendly versus Andorra, or whatever. Shouldn't Tito be the next one up to come into the pitch? Not when Uzwani gets injured and now you throw me in. Some of the players have not even played in the first team. You throw him in and now he's under fire. And I was using the examples of who's this boy, Khanye Samayo, and those type of players, Jayden Adams, and guys that have been with the squad for a very long time. Right? No, Pungo, listen to what I'm saying. Jayden Adams is Stellenbosch. Velimotwa is Amazulu. Ricardo Goss is Supersport, if I'm not mistaken. Usbisi is Pirates. Ngezana was not even playing for the team. Ngezana, who's next to him, Dotley, was not even playing for the team. There were other center backs that were sitting. So now I'm just saying, why are you taking those people along if when time comes for you to trust them, defenders are injured or whatever, Uzwana Geko or whatever, you look at those guys who have been traveling with the team for 2 years, who are meant to be the strong B team, and instead of trusting them to come in, to jump in as people who are now senior players, Bafana Bafana, you will choose to bring in another person who may never have played for Bafana Bafana at that point, and even then, now you are risking Guti, Loyo Muntu, are they going to sink or swim? So what has been the 2 years? That's what I'm asking. What has been all that time? Abumayambela Baseko, been with the team for a very long time. Now it comes time to call people, Agekumayambela. We see the same 2 midfielders. Now when it's lit, Tembata jumps, Adams jumps, all of those guys. And if he flops, what do we say? No, he's such a bad player. Instead of looking... But anyway, I don't want to go too long. Hey, before I go too long, let me let in the next panel. Let's see who's here. Okay. Hi man, what's happening now? Guys, we're gonna have 2 more panels. So it's this one and the next one. So the guys waiting. Ningapheli umoya, man. Let me go to Ngwane while I let people in. Coach, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, my brother?
Hi, man. I'm good. I call you coach. You know that. Coach, go ahead. Tell me. 1-1. How do you feel about this game?
No, the game, I think in terms of result, I'm happy, a point away is never a bad result, especially understanding the African type of football and the logistics that are involved when you are playing in Africa. So it was never a bad result, I think we've been too spoiled to a point where we just take any result for granted because maybe we are too entitled on winning. We understand. So when you got such situations, we kind of becoming so hard and so harsh to our boys because playing in Africa requires one mentality to go over the line. You need to draw away and win at home. That is the principle of succeeding in Africa. Draw away, win at home. Even on CAF Champions League, CAF Confederation Cup, if you adopt that strategy, then you'll be fine. So in terms of result, I'm happy because there are a lot of things that are involved: pitch conditions, the logistics, food, weather, and so on and so forth. So in terms of result, I'm happy. And because we are certain that we're going to qualify, we just need a point, then we'll qualify. I understand. But then you come to issues, a pending issue, which I think it's an issue of player selection, not player selection, but player caps, because we must be critical of the way that we are using player caps. And I'm also the one to say the system that Hugo Broos is adopting is starting to fail him now in terms of his succession plan, because he calls players and then those players will be part of the group for 2 years, 1 year, or 6 months and stuff. And then when time arrives to give those players a chance, it doesn't. And he will give those players a chance when he's also under pressure. You look at the situation at Oakley. People are saying Oakley fitted like a club, but I can tell you that backline is shaky. If you look at the past 3 games, that backline is considered 7 goals. 5 goals, sorry, 5 goals. And Oakley was selected not because he was a replacement, but because he was desperate for a defender since Umvala was injured and also the Grand Kekana was not performing. And when he selected about Oakley, about Austin, Apolis, about Mokwena, he never said they are replacements of which type of players. So it's on Lumasangai that was selected based on a point to say, I want you to replace this player. So already you are putting him on the bench. Austin Apolis was never selected to say, you are here to replace Upesitao. Fukeng was never selected to say you are here to replace this kind of player and that kind of player. They were just selected based on their performances. So they know that they've got a chance to start a game. But for Maswanga, it's a different case. He's told straight in your eye to say you won't play if this player is still active, because when they are there to replace whenever is not available. So how do you expect that player then to give you his 100%, knowing exactly that I'm just there to replace in case he's injured? And I wonder to say in 11, V11 good practice game, do you play him with the first 11 or do you play him with the P team? If you play him with the P team, then when is he going to create a relationship with the players that he must play with in midfield? Because the reason about one they are so effective, it's because they in football now we rely on what we say relationalism, relationship between players, and it must be crucial, especially at the center and back line. You rely on relationship. When is he going to create and have that relationship with Mokwena and Opas and whoever is playing with, so that when he moves to that space, is no, this is where I'm going to find Mokwena. When I'm here, this is where I'm going to find Apolis. Then he doesn't even know that. And my point, lastly, on Maswangai is to say he doesn't need to be validated to play for Bafana Bafana for him to be a better player. He's a better player on his own. He's a better player in South Africa. So he's a better player. He must never allow the noise to affect his play. But we are saying the way that it's been introduced, it's unfair. You look at the last game against the Congo here in South Africa, 3-0 first half. Why are you not introducing him so that you can save the legs of Uzwane so that he can be effective when you go to Congo? but you did not give a boy a chance. When is he going to create that relationship? When are you giving Jordaan Adams a chance to have a relationship with Mokwena? When are you giving all these players that you've been busy so that when you need him, Guma games where you play with tall players in West Africa, he can be your bully. He must understand Ukraine Kekana and do totally. When are you giving them a chance? When are you giving Ricardo Kos a chance to play at least one match? When you see this match you are playing at home, is comfortable. Instead, you are jumping him. Then you are also creating a system that you want to be in harmony and in peace, but you are also destroying the very same system. That is why I've got a problem with Hugo Broos and how he managed this issue of Tito and the caps of all the players that you mentioned, about Mayambela, about Hlongwane. Hlongwane doesn't even exist, but is playing well in America. Mayambela is not even part of his setup. You look at Jordaan Adams, you know what affected the boy. And are we going to call players one and destroy them? You look at Mayo. Mayo is not even part of the setup. So we are crying for caps. But then, lastly, just a minute.
Yeah.
But then, I can be sorry for your coach to say, maybe it's because you are not giving enough time for friendlies. Each and every game, it's a high competitive game that need result. Because now the schedule of the calendar is so hectic that you can't introduce new players just like that. We can, falter him on the last game, but the games that are upcoming and forth, they are no friendlies. All games, it's either AFCON qualifiers or World Cup qualifiers. So the coach maybe does not have enough time to introduce all players. That is why he keeps on using the very same players.
Okay, no. Coach, thank you so much. For time's sake, I'm going to jump and go to Umqo. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Oti, how's it, my man?
Man, I'm good, Umqo. 1-1, how do you feel about the game?
Oti, think about this. You play these guys at home, you trash them, you beat them convincingly, actually embarrass them.
Yeah.
And then you go away, they are hurt, and then they want to prove a point because they are home. They are trying to restore their dignity because obviously you embarrass them in front of the whole of Africa. And then you get there, you play on an artificial field, you are able to get out with a draw. What are we complaining about? This is the second time I'm saying this, that if we are away, it doesn't matter whether we are playing Mauritania. It doesn't matter whether we are playing Lesotho. If we are away and we are able to come out with a draw, it's good result. Whereas I spoke about, I think on Monday, I don't know when it was Monday, I said, I know that this is going to be hostile for us because first of all, we are going to play in an artificial turf. Most of our players, actually all of our players are not used to that. And you know that artificial turf is going to change your style of play. If you look at the way we played, you can tell that the coach came out with a different strategy for that match because he knew that we're not going to string a lot of passes there.
Yeah.
The way we want to do it. We are not going to succeed in doing that. That is why I would like to plead with South Africans. Let's stop this thing. I know people have different opinions. I get that. It's okay.
Yeah.
Can we also accept the fact that we went away and got a point in very difficult circumstances? I'm happy. I'm okay. Took two matches, 4 points. Good. Let's move on. And there's this other thing that we need to speak about as well.
Yeah.
I think it's the issue. You spoke about the issue of players that are that have been in the Bafana setup, and then all of a sudden, instead of you as a coach playing them, you'd wanna go out and get the same kind of player or in the same position and then decide to play like that. I don't think we need to look at it that way when it's a first come first save. Remember, when you are assembling a team as a coach, you select them based on like solely on their abilities and obviously the style of play that you want to apply in that national team. Let me make a simple example. When Mourinho arrived at Barcelona, Eto'o was one of the best strikers in Europe. We can all agree. He was one of the best strikers.
When Pep.
When Pep actually, sorry, when Pep, not Mourinho. And they couldn't get along because Mourinho has his own style of play. When he says, no, please don't run that way. When this midfielder is having a ball. And then they were like, no, I've been scoring goals for years doing the same thing. And then he's like, no, I don't want us to play like that. But you know what happened? He released him. So this is the point that I want to make, Oti. When he released him to go to Italy, Eto shined in Italy and even won the UEFA.
treble.
Now, exactly. And Pep again succeeded at Barcelona. So there's no right or wrong to this thing. If we don't agree, if I have a player that I don't agree in terms of the style of play, I would want to adjust certain things that to say, hey, I know that you are good at this, but I want us to move this way because we are a team. So I want us to complement each other as players so that we can change certain things so that we can produce a win. So I don't think like it's an issue to uba no fige cala and then uba no fige mover. Therefore, why are you not playing that person?
Can I ask you it this way then? The one thing we complain about a lot in the national team is time. And I think my argument here is Umko ngimthathile, fine, he's not my first team player, but Umko has been with me for 2 years. He's trained with the first team for 2 years. He's been with me for 2 years. He knows how I coach. He knows all those things.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you select that player? I think that's what I'm fighting about, because now I bring in Ungocha. Ungocha doesn't know me. He's never been with me like that. We haven't traveled together. He might not know how my setup is. Ungbona 2 weeks, whereas you've been with me for years, let's say. But now I come in and instead of selecting you, the person who then I chose, I go with Ungocha. Have we not wasted some time with you, Mko, that time we don't have as a national team, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it's a great point that you are making. But I still want to put this to you. If I'm selecting a team, I'm assembling a team, and then there's Ulo, Batuban, Utito, that I see, you know what, this boy is very good, but there are certain things that I want to fix with him. That is why I want to bring him to this setup, so that we can fix some of the things. I understand the vision that I have and the way that I want us to play. And then my figu Tito la pagi ngiyambona ukuthi okay usajwayele lento ya Pirates ufuna ukugibela ku ball ufuna ukubheka ka left masiya ka right, and then when I'm like, guys, this is how I want us to play. Mayebuyela bheka ku Pirates uTito wenza the same thing. So I'm trying to bring that in most of the time.
You keep bringing him back.
Remember, I'm saying to you, I need to not to adjust this player's abilities, but to sort of make him understand what lending ifuna kuwe ile Tito. So it's not ukuthi angimzwisisi uTito, ngiyamzwisisa kakhulu. I understand that no, the guy has potential, but uTito ngathi akanandaba. That's why ngizofuna uprove a point again next time ngifaka omunye uTito angangenanga, ngilanda omunye ngibuye ngimfaka so that Tito can get it to fit. That's why you see coaches pointing at players independent and say, look, this is what I always tell you. When someone does this thing on the pitch, you see coaches speak to the players on the bench. You say, this is what I always tell you. This is what I want you to do.
Time. Sorry about that. Just to be fair to everybody, let me bring in Ungocha. Ungocha, 1-1 Congo, South Africa. How do you feel about this game?
I'm not too happy, but I understand why the outcome was like that. First, we have to respect Congo. Congo had a strategy. They're going to give us a certain type of play when they came here. They left some players in Congo. They also did not announce their stadium that they're going to play the game early enough. So it wasn't South Africa wasn't sure whether we're going to play on an artificial pitch or not until they announced it after the game. Then in a short period of time, there's new players that were thrown in there, and they had a strategy for us because they saw how we do play. Us, we did not see how Congo plays, and Congo didn't play the same way in both these games. All right, so I'm happy that we had to adapt in an environment that wasn't okay. We had to adapt at a time that wasn't okay for it. We didn't have enough time to adapt, and we also didn't know what they had, in stock for us. And they surprised us in many spaces in the right back, in the striker's position, in all these positions. So I accept to go to the 1-1. It's fine. It's okay. When it comes to players being chosen, guys, the reason why Ngezane and Dotley were put there was just for one reason. Because those strikers, those defenders are tall. That's the reason why why the coach put them there. CBC is there, but he's not going to grow tall just because we're playing against tall strikers. That's why those strikers were called, and they jumped other players because the game that they were going to play needed tall strikers. I mean, tall defenders. That's why they were chosen. It wasn't because favoritism or whatever. And then because they played well in that game, because they could handle those tall strikers, when we encountered another group of tall strikers, they brought them back again. So let's not think that our back four is sorted just because one game we play against this type of players and those players did well. Because we're going to be needed to play fast players in other games, and the coach is going to call more fast players in that game. And other games we need to play stronger, bigger boys in the midfield, bigger boys in the back. That our way of playing is going to be different. There's no way we can say because you didn't play Tito here, and the reason why Tito wasn't being playing is because we're playing against big boys. This shoeshine thing, Zwane has the experience enough to handle himself even around big players. Tito was being protected. Not Uti, he wasn't being played because he doesn't believe in him, but he was being protected in certain instances. And as mentioned before, we don't have enough games to actually just change the midfield all in all. This coach wants to win all the time, and he wants to build a reputation where we believe in him so much. Uti, we think that we're going to win the next game. And we've gotten to that stage now. Uti, when it's 1-1, we come here, we complain because we thought we were going to win. He made us think that we're going to win by selecting players. And this motion of saying, no, it's the Sundowns players, there's no such thing. Those are the best players in the league. So if you're choosing a best 11, you're going to choose players that are good, and you add those whatever players. It doesn't matter whether they're playing for Sundowns or Chiefs or whatever. Only when Chiefs and Pirates bring more players that are good to compete with Sundowns will we see a Bafana that is more mixed here. Well, then it's going to make sense. So let's not complain about that. And in terms of having other players getting a chance and play, you can only change 2 or 3 players in a game. There's no consistency if you're going to bring 5 new players. That's how all these coaches were losing their jobs, because Pitso would want to make big changes. There's no need to do that. Your foundation structures is the same. That's it.
I think my problem, Gocha, for me is, if then that is we had the conversation about Khanyisa Mayo, for example, where we were saying that if you keep telling us that Khanyisa Mayo is not the person that you want, then don't select him and take up time. Rather, bring in your players and have them be developed in that time. So similar with the centre backs, if Usbisi is short and we know that a lot of our games are going to be against tall players, why bring Usbisi for 2 years? And then, totally, these tall players that you're talking about only get a look in now, when they could have been developing for the past year. I think that's the thing. And when we look at time,
he's making his pool of players bigger. We know that Specie is part of the team. Now, Dottley is part of the team. You know, if
Specie is not going to play 80% of the time, why bring him along? Is my question. So if you never, I think he's got 2 caps under Broos, maybe.
It doesn't matter how many caps, but the pool of players, just like Gordon Egerson did, Pitso did the same. He was widening his pool of players by calling players in a short period of time. He wants a bigger pool of players. So Sibisi, we know that he's good, and and Broos has played him. Broos has played him a lot in certain games, but when we're playing against strikers that are big, strong, and how the team plays is where they just make crosses into the box. That's how we lost some of the games. You need a player that's comfortable with challenging these big guys when it comes to crosses and other things. CBC will panic in those situations, and it's not because he's not a good defender. It's because he's just short. He can't change that, you know. And in other games he will excel, you know. That's why when it comes to a tournament, he's going to be picked because he got all these good qualities besides height, you know. But but Ngezane may not be picked because as much as he's got the height, he doesn't have all the mobility that's needed to be there. Maybe a Dudley will be put and CBC will also be played in certain games. We need to understand how the coach is thinking instead of saying we insist that we would prefer him to do things our way, because he's planning on each opponent and planning against the opponent instead of just trying to bring players, players that we prefer.
For time's sake, let me go to Montana. Montana, welcome to the show. How are you?
How's it? I'm good.
1-1. How do you feel?
I don't want to make excuse for the professional players about the pitch or whatever reasons. Because those we were crying about why we don't choose the players that are used to those conditions. We've got Sundowns players that have been playing CAF Champions League for how I don't know how many seasons. And we have Pirates players, even if they were always being eliminated early, but they have experience to play in those conditions. Let's not make excuse about professionals who've been playing football. We have players that are playing abroad. Mokwena is playing in Egypt, in
Algeria,
Morocco, Algeria. He knows those conditions. In Northwest Africa. So those players, all the players that were chosen by Broos are conditioned to those, and they are professional. We must not forget. The same Congo was playing on the same artificial field. Let's not make excuse like the Congo was playing on different field or what. It's not the first time players play on artificial ground. Let's move on. The players have become so complex that they are big enough. I don't know if the equals that they are going to win. Because the 3-0 that they won against Congo in home, they went there like they already won. You don't do that when you are professional. You switch on. You always switch. You can see the players. Even the first whistle, they had a good game. The game was good. They scored. They started to think, no, we are going 3-0. You don't go to 3-0 if you don't put the ball at the back of the net. Mokwena had the chance. We would have talking a different story if Mokwena scored that chance that he got. It was 1-on-1 against the goalkeeper. It's the complex end. You have to switch on. You don't win a match before you play a match. I would say that. Because and the changes, we can't always change the squad. Because every coach has his own players or favorite players. We know that. It's in club football, even on international stage. We saw when the English coach was always calling Maguire, even though Maguire was not even, and Kevin Phillips were not even regular on their club, but they perform on national team. But we can't keep and changing the squad. Each and every team that have won cups on international stage, we saw the same squad. You go to Brazil, you go to Germany when they beat Brazil 7-0. That was the same squad. There was no such thing as, no, we're playing these strikers there at all. And you only change the player if you see that player is off form. And then you change the squad gradually. Not you just say we're playing against Congo. The strikers they are told let's put Ngezane, let's put what. You must have your own first 11. Then you must have your reserve. If there's a player that is on form on the PSL or is playing abroad, he must be consistent at least 10 matches. Here in South Africa, 1 match, the player. And then we all want him to the national team, score 1 goal, all the fans. Why don't you put that player there? So when I was playing there, I said it last week. Why I was on your live. I said why Broos doesn't put Maswangai, because we're leading training and we're comfortable. Why that? I don't think he like Maswangai's time. I don't think so. He is putting Maswangai because Maswangai is performing at Pirates. He has to put him. Now that he is there, I think to him that's enough that is there. But he doesn't believe him when he has to put him on the ground. I don't think he likes, because you must remember, Boss is an old man, and his views on European football. European football, you know, the coaches are disciplined. They don't want those players that are bakabela phezu kwamabhola, those tamayas. We know that. The testimony of that, the players that are there, the mokwenas, those players are hard workers. All the players that are there. I don't understand, even myself, why Sebi is there. Why you keep calling him? Because even Dot just been called on the squad, but he's playing regular. Sebi has been there for I don't know how many years have been there, but he's not playing. Call the players that you know, these players you are grooming. Maybe in the next match you're gonna give them 20 to 10 minutes or so. The players you know that you're gonna use. You don't call players that they can sing or they motivate players. You, your coach, you motivate players. At least you can have one player that you know this player is gonna motivate the players, but not the whole bench. You call the whole bench because last point, this coach Broos, I don't think he likes. You can see on this game, he don't like to make substitution. Zwane wasn't supposed to play that long before he got injured. He's supposed to change it, because you know when you get on certain age, you have to manage those players very well. I think that's it. But on the excuses that
very quickly,
the pitch or what, that's an excuse. Those are professional players. They've been paying for CAF. Let's not, the players were compensated. They went there. They know we beat them 3-0. We're gonna beat them over, especially after they scored that 3 goals. Because on the first 20 minutes, Bafana was performing. We in that pitch, in that same pitch, they had chances until the goal was scored. We must also give credit to Congo.
Yeah, for time, Montana. Let me bring it to Glenn. Glenn, I'm going to give you your time. Don't worry. We'll go into extra time. It doesn't matter, Glenn. Welcome. How are you? 1-1. How do you feel about the game?
How's it, my brother?
No, I'm good.
Sharp. Hey, Hugo Broos, ne? Hugo Broos, I think he's now running out of ideas. One thing I saw about Hugo Broos is that when he selects players, he just selects the 23 for the sake of selecting the 23. But when he selects players, he selects his 17, the one that he knows is going to probably use for that match day. Another thing that I saw with Hugo Broos is that the front three, the Bafana Bafana front three for a long time has been misfiring, but we were in a slumber. We were in a slumber because I don't want to say we were winning games, but we were not losing games. You see, so and then another thing is that Hugo is assembling a team. He's not building a team. When he first got into South Africa, he wanted to build. We saw how he selected young players.
Yeah.
That was a coach with a building mentality. But as time went by, I thought he wanted to protect his retirement package, ne? So he started now bringing in the Zwanes for Zwane deserves to be in the Bafana squad. Let's not get it twisted. Zwane deserves to be in the Bafana squad, but when you select a player like Zwane, you must automatically start planning for the succession, because Zwane is not going to be in South Africa for the next 10 years or for the next 5 years. And Hugo Broos lacks that succession plan. Another thing, Helman Mukelele. If you are an advisor to Hugo Broos, I expect to see a Bafana Bafana that is playing with Kasi Flair. People are saying Tito is misfiring, but Tito is misfiring because before Tito is being sent on the field, he is being told, "Hey, Mchan, beware. If I give an another ball, I'm taking you out immediately." So the boy is going to automatically enter the field with a low sense of esteem, and then with a low sense of confidence. So we need people like Helman Mukelele to start speaking for these boys, to Mdala, and tell him Mdala, but Mdala, our way of playing football requires us to be to have some flair. It requires us still give you want. And another thing, Batuso Ubas. I want to apologize to Batuso Ubas, but the first half he had was appalling. The second half was much better because we saw Batuso Ubas that was covering the defense. Again, we need enough quality. We need enough quality in Bafana so that when Teboho Mokwena is injured, we can replace Teboho Mokwena. At the current point in time, there is no way someone can tell me that a Bafana squad, not the Bafana, but any Bafana position can be replaced. Anyone who's playing in the what do you call this, in this first 11 has a good enough replacement. There is no one there that can be replaced. It's not only Zwane. We saw even Evidence Makoba. Evidence Makoba is out. What's happening at the number 9 position? Shambles. So Umdala must go back and sit down, construct a proper what you call succession plan.
No, Glenn, for time, I'm going to just jump in there. I'm running a little bit late, but thank you so much for joining. Guys, this is all I want to say. I think as a country, when we speak football, we are always in extremes, right? We are always in extremes. When Bafana Bafana is doing well, it's well, man. There's no mistakes that happen in that game. It's well. When Bafana is doing badly, it goes the other way. If you listen to the comments that I made on Friday, for example, I said that I don't think Bafana Bafana played very well. And there are some things that could be exploited by Congo in the second leg. When we're having these conversations, I don't think it's a place where it's like Hugo Broos must be fired or whatever, but it's also a place where we have to look at the games and critically analyze them. The reason why I'm speaking about these type of things from my point of view is I think that Bafana Bafana is on the brink. So Bafana Bafana is 1 or 2 injuries away from being a completely different team. The 2 games that we played before these games, we were bailed out by Umbata twice because we saw some problems with the front three and our defense was a little bit shaky at times, right? So I think the frame we must approach these conversations from is we all want this team to be better. Now, when for me, I speak about the succession and the whole team, my problem is, yes, you can have tall defenders and short defenders. True, right? But can we know who those guys are and have them have time with Broos and have them have time with the other guys and have them play? Because I'm not talking about the people who are coming in now. I'm talking about players with Bafana Bafana that have been there since Ubrusa corner or very close. Think about Enyiko Mobi, for example. A player that has been with Hugo Broos for a very long time. Is he trusted to come in when it's hot and something happens to Mudau? Everybody cringes. Then we start seeing people jumping. You look at the center backs, right? Abosbisi have been there from the beginning. Do I mind having tall defenders? I don't mind it. It makes sense. But you've been bringing in Abom Simango and you're bringing in those players. Why not then sit down and say, fine, I want this. Totally not are going to be my players now for tall games. Those are the guys. When they're sitting on the bench, they know that we're going to get our game time when you come inside. When I have to look for a defense, those guys are there. Because my problem with Usbisi right now is we're all speaking as though BC's first choice or second choice. Usbisi has been there. We know who plays. Abomvala have played. Abokekana have played. Now it's Dotli, it's Ngezana, it's Simango has come in at some point. All of these guys have come in and around Usbisi. So then I'm like, then what's the point of taking Usbisi with? If Naye, in all of these years, he's not going to get trusted. When it's AFCON and it's tough, nobody looks to Usbisi to come into the pitch. Nobody looks to Abo Mobi, and it's not to say they're bad players. But now those guys have been in there for a very long time. You don't even trust them. Now we're shaking about Utemba because there was nobody who was developed. It's gone from Tito to Mtanzane. Remember, Mtanzane was the successor to Tito. Remember when we got that speech? So now I'm like, if all those people are here and here and here, who's when he gets injured? Who's ready to come inside and play? And I'm not even asking for Zwa. I'm not even asking for Tito. I'm not a Pirates fan. I'm not asking for Tito because, hey, Tito must play. I'm asking for Tito because he's been sitting right there the whole time. Umisa Pige. He's been sitting right there the whole time. No games, no this, no that. Now you throw him into this game. It's hot. It's 1-1. The whole game has broken down. You've got 7 players on the pitch that are defenders. You've got 2 defensive midfielders. There's maybe only 2 attacking players. Now we expect Tito to do what exactly in that team? And if Tito's only playing with that team or with the B team, when he comes in to play for the first team that he has been with the whole time, how ready will he be? So rather, but give them time. 20 minutes, this and that. Play them in the time that you've had them. I'm talking about those players. Then we can judge. But then I'm like, okay, why didn't you just bring Fukeng from the first point? Why didn't you bring the other guys from day one? Because remember, Hugo Broos has also been one of the people that has even made selections that had made no sense. Last year when he spoke about Chiefs and everything was going fire, everything was going crazy. I'm a Chiefs fan. I was sitting there going, where is Modi going? Why are you wasting time thinking about what we think about this game when you should be just coach, bruh? Just coach. Yeah, sure Leo bench is ready to come in when it's hot. And when we analyze, guys, there's things, man, that you see. We've known that defense has been a problem. Did you know that the same defensive errors that we had with this game were the same errors we had when Ungezana was on the pitch? The attacks were coming from which side? So when we analyze those things, it's not to say that Bafana Bafana is a bad team. It's, listen, guys, there's been an issue here. When I analyzed the game at 5-0 and everybody was having me on Facebook and all of that stuff, it was just literally saying, we need to look out for this and this and this and this and this. Do you know what happens when you face a team that is now ready for you? Those are the things that get exploited. So these are the things we need to ask. Our forwards aren't creating that many chances if the game is not open. So how then do you play in a structured game? We had a way to play with Tumahopa, for example. But now we're seeing Abu Reinas running around. We're not creating those chances clear cut and all of that. The big difference between this game and the last one, Friday, is very simple. Friday, we scored 3 goals early that came from 2 set pieces and a wonder goal. That changed what Congo had to do. If you watch the watch along, when we went into that break for the Fab Pitch Invaders, I literally said, Congo has a choice right now. It's either they're going to come out and play, or they're going to sit back and say, you know what, let's not embarrass ourselves any further. They decided to go play. They went to a back 3. Then that's where you started seeing the spaces start appearing. Now you start to see mokwena and those guys come alive. What happens if you come and play those guys, you come and play a team that doesn't care? This Congo team that doesn't concede early. And they sit back and they go, you know what, guys, we're going to keep our structure right now. How do we break those things down? It's not a hate conversation. It's a how do we get better as a team conversation. When we spoke months ago about the midfield not being ball players, Spepelos Tole and Mokwena were not ball players, so we couldn't necessarily build the game through the middle. What happened this game is that it became Mokwena and Obas, and Mokwena was allowed to go forward, still couldn't build through there. We were losing balls even in the 5-0. These are the things, man, that we speak about when we are analyzing a game. But I guess we get taken aside, and it doesn't mean that Broos must go. This team has done incredible. How do we then take it from 3rd place to winning an AFCON? How do we go back to a World Cup? And these are the questions that we have to ask. Anyway, let me bring in the last panel. Let me see. Gustavo Spiro, try request again. Let me bring in the last guys for the last part of the show. Marty, let me go to AB now, since we don't have that much time. AB, welcome to the show. How are you?
Tibo Sharp.
Man, Kimnati. AB, 1-1. How do you feel about that game?
I feel so disappointed by the way they approach and the way the coach made so many twitches. I feel like the first game deceived us, and then this one kinda revealed many factors that could literally ruin everything we've built. Question I want to ask is, how come when Rulani Mokwena left Sundowns and then Broos played, and now we're trying to check, there are many holes that are getting more and more open. How come that as a coach you don't believe in ball players? Because we are needing 1-1. We know that most of those Congo players don't have the smartness of the brain. How come we don't take a Relebokhile Mfukeng that could literally kill the game for us, as he killed in the final? We have many talented players in the squad, but what he did is he killed the thing. He went to the game that, okay, let's sit back and let them come to us. Because we know at home they're going to dominate. Why are the country going to keep
on... Chakaranda, please mute.
Why are we going to keep on using this excuse, saying that, no, it's the fields? We know that Africa, we are one of the top 3 or top 5 when it comes to fields. Why can't we literally see that this coach used that moment of Sundowns' romantic, lovely style of play, and then now, when we're literally looking shaky, and then someone left, and then Sundowns is a bit shaky, now we're shaky too. How come we haven't seen his style of play? Tito is a ball player, Rele is a ball player, and one thing about me, the problem is the defensive midfielders. As defensive midfielders, you go there, you drop, you take the ball, you literally make us play. Who's gonna make us play? Who's gonna create chances if Zwane is not there? If Zwane is not there, we're literally like toothless. So my question is, why can't we see that this person used the country when the country was glooming, Sundowns was playing well? He used that moment to put himself there in the spark. And I still say he's not a good coach until he proves us wrong. Because now he used that thing, and now Sundowns are literally not in a good space. Now we're showing, there's many red flags showing, because how can you you take out offensive players, you put on defenders? What does that say about the mentality of the coach? Play safe while you're playing against a team that will beat them 5-0.
So then, AB, tell me very quickly, do you think that maybe there was an arrogance that Bafana Bafana had going into this game, and do you worry that we're still going to see a lot of artificial pitches, we're still going to see a lot of hostile places, teams are going to change and do whatever, but it doesn't seem like we're changing anything to try and address those things?
I feel like there's a bit of arrogance and undermining because we've been playing in bad pitches. I feel like when we were at Ghana, I don't know where, we played in bad pitches, but we survived. I don't understand how come as a coach you don't read, you be like, okay, these are the countries that have good fields. Let me anticipate. Okay, sure. As these teams, Congo doesn't come close to us when it comes to keeping the ball. Why can't we keep the ball literally flow the ball than rather we play like them? We play because we know that if we lose the ball, they're gonna come and rush us. They're playing at home, and secondly, they're playing at a pitch they might get used to. When are we gonna get used to literally putting ourselves in positions where we know we're gonna go there, boys? But let's keep our shape. Let's play our football. Literally now, I hear critics of Utito, which are very weird, because what I noticed about the coach, he threw Tito under the bus, literally, because he knew that the person that is kind of close to being creative is Tito, but yet he didn't play him. We win 3-0. He literally put his best players there. Why don't you substitute and rest them if you know that when you go away against these guys, they're literally gonna have a plan for us. Because, for example, I feel like there's a bit of a problem with our left, because if you notice those guys, they attacked the left because they know Modiba comes close, and then he leaves a bit of gap, which was exposed. Now what I'm asking is, if Modiba can play quite well in Sundowns in the midfield, what is this thing of playing safe 2 pivots? Why can't we take out 1 pivot and literally put Modiba in a 3? Because it works in Sundowns. Why can't we try it? Because we've got one of the best creative left backs / midfield. Why are we literally... Because now most people don't notice Morocco played in, and I don't know where they played. There's more those guys 4-0. 4-0. The same guys they beat at home 5 or 6. They beat them 6. How come we? Yeah. How come we call ourselves a big name? Yeah.
No. For time's sake, sorry, AB. Time's sake, I just want to give everybody a fair chance. Let me bring in Gustavo. Gustavo, 1-1 Congo versus South Africa. How do you feel about the game?
Good game, man. It was as much as the pitch was an artificial pitch, we're already at a disadvantage. That pitch was too small, man, too narrow for us to play our type of football, and we didn't have that many ball players, if I can put it like that. Because we have our Reiners. If you have a player like Reiners in that pitch already, you are not favored to keep the ball. We'll be losing the ball and they recover it easy. You know, we don't have our fullbacks overlapping as much because there's no room literally to play in behind them. It's difficult to play behind them. You know, it was a tough match for us. I see the pitch. Tough match for us. And how we approach the game, man. You know, how we approach the game, and I agree na machit. I think coach Hugo, man, coach was the results. Let me just get that clear, because he got some results before he adopting those Rulani players. He used to get some results. This guy only lost 1 game, and he lost it in a controversial way in his first appointment, in his appointment. You know, which was the qualifier game against him, was Ghana. We were bound to go to the World Cup with that guy. You know, he was getting results. He's a guy who knows how to win and draw. You know, he's that type of coach, you know. So you look at him, then you are like, okay, fine, coach, you used to get those results. He used to play with 2 strikers. If people remember, he used to play with 2 strikers. He used to love playing with 2 strikers. You know, you'd have a Hlongwane and a Mahopa next to each other, or a Lyle Foster and another striker next to each other. You know, but you look at him now, you are like, okay, coach, you are adopting this Sundowns way whereby we are playing good and we are sort of like dominating the game, we are dominating the ball. You know, okay, fine. We are at that point now whereby we are building out from the back. Problem number 1, the centre backs you are supposed to be getting ball players. Guys who can defend, guys who are good on the ball. That's the first thing you're supposed to be doing. Look at a team like Pirates. Uqulu, Usibisi, they are not first choice there. The first choice are the 2 guys who are ball players, Usesani and Olisanda. You look at the Sundowns, they used to favor ball players playing in front of Williams. That's why we struggled in that first game against him during AFCON. I think Qulu was paired up no Kekana, if I'm correct. You know, until he brought in Umvala, whereby now it's stable. We have guys who are used to building out from the back, guys who can actually build out from the back. You know, as a coach, that's the first step you're supposed to be looking at. Okay, fine, now I've adopted a way of playing from the back. Let me get those 2 ball playing centre backs, and on the bench also, let me have the same profiles. You know, let me have those same profiles of guys who can play out from the back, not just take anyone. You know, because you are playing in a certain way now. You cannot have OCBC coming in for Kekan. Already things are shaky. You know, you are bringing all these guys whereby they are not natural ball players, and you get it wrong there. You know, and during the game, I'm like, you have Umfukeng on the bench, right? You have Umfukeng on the bench, but you are playing a right back ahead of him, and you put in another right back ahead of him. You are replacing a winger, whereby you are playing now a right back as a striker. You are replacing a winger, whereby now you are playing a right back as a winger. what's that as a coach? You know, what you ask yourself, what's that? Okay, what's the plan here? Since the plan is not clearly to defend, because if you're looking to defend, you would have put in a defender way before those right backs playing up front. Because clearly you don't want them to defend. You clearly want them to go forward and play and deliver those crosses, but there's no striker in there to get in those crosses.
Yeah.
You know, you have to criticize the coach when it comes to those types of things. Agana plan. Yabo, agana plan. I bench in the first 11, it doesn't correlate. Aguna balance, especially from the midfield going backwards. Pambi, even Sundowns, my profile or corner of the forward players, they are slightly different. But you can sort of balance it because Sundowns there is Ribeiro. You have Apolis whereby he's a creative winger. You have Willem Fukeng, he's a creative winger. On that left, you are sorted, but on that right, it's an issue. Where's that other right winger to replace Mokwena? Where's that player to replace Mokwena in terms of how we want to play if you want that slight difference? You know? But sharp, team.
Gustavo, for time. Let me go to Usbusiso. Usbusiso, welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, thank you yourself, mate.
No, I'm good. 1-1. How do you feel about this game?
Honestly, I think we are lucky. The environment did not favor South Africa at all. From the fans to the pitch to how we played as well. And we need to be honest about one thing. The team that we played on Friday made about 5 or 6 changes to the team that we played yesterday. The guys are way taller than we are. They played long balls and we were always second when it came to headers. We could not compete because of the changes that they made, and they made that work to their advantage. The injury to Zwane also played a very, very negative role, because if you realized when the game started, when Zwane had the ball, he had the presence of mind to be able to pick out the good passes and made us look good. You know, even though we did not have the greatest of times on the pitch, because if you noticed when we started the ball from the back, our build-up was extremely slow, and these guys did not even come to try and put pressure on the team. They were literally waiting for us to go at them, you know. And when you look at the passes that were made on that pitch, that ball was bouncy. It was very difficult to control. When Tito came in, I'm sorry to say this, he didn't play his normal football where he would take on a player or two and then find a short pass. He tried to get rid of the ball very quickly. There was a pass that he made second half when we were attacking Congo, and I thought we had an opportunity to break them down. He made a back pass right into the opposition's feet. You know? So I think, honestly, we are lucky to come back with a point. The only problem I have with our coach is that he saw it very early. It's okay, this environment is not good for South Africa, and we don't have the backbone to deal with this, especially with the little defenders that I've got. He decided to put in defenders to say, you know what, I'd rather secure this point than go for a win, because that's exactly what he did. That is exactly what he did, especially after that header that hit the crossbar. He then replaced Lentazan. What's his name? I forgot his name. With the supersport, what is this, right back? Yes, he made that replacement immediately to basically now put 5 people at the back and say, you know what, the little that I've got going forward, I will use that. But even the little we had did not do much going forward, because I don't even think we had more than 2 chances in the second half against Congo. Do
we have a plan B? Do we have another football at Bafana Bafana?
In this instance, this is where I think we need a tall striker. Evidence has the height, but my problem is he doesn't have the strength to hold the ball, to have people come at him and play off the defender's back. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, the build-up play that we were playing was very slow, and the pitch was not conducive to the type of football that we wanted to play. Because the same football we played in Qabecha was the one that we were trying to play yesterday. You know, put up from the back, make those passes wide, you know, come back into the middle, have someone drop deep and collect the ball, which is what Zwane did. Unfortunately, we missed that when he got injured. We missed that because the first 23 minutes prior to his injury, we had that. Even though it was difficult, we had that. We had those passes going through Zwane where he'd take one player on and then, you know what, open the gap, get a player in.
Yeah.
So we were definitely missing that when Tito came in. Instead, we had no middle at all.
So then tell me, just for the last minute here, when you look at that team, do you think that maybe it's a failure of our squad to plan? And Congo planned, they read some things, and maybe that 5-0 stopped us from being that serious coming into the second game. Do you think maybe there was a failure of planning?
I think there was a bit of arrogance from our side, honestly, when we went into the second leg. Because again, like I said, if you've noticed, when we had the ball, we were very slow, very lethargic in building up. We didn't make quick passes. We didn't run anything. You get what I'm saying? So we were very, very arrogant. And I think we came into that mentality. We came into the game with the mentality that we are leading 5-0. And this is a new game. The score is 0-0. You know? And they came into the game with, you know what, we've lost this already. Might as well just give it all we've got. And they gave it all they got. And Mina, personally, I think we are lucky to get away with the draw.
Okay.
We were very lucky to get away with the draw.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you this last 30 seconds.
We were supposed to lose that game by 2-1, if I'm not mistaken. Because the equalizer goal, the initial goal, that was not offside. That was not offside. You know, and then they equalized. Then they had an opportunity where they hit the bar.
Yeah.
Tina, after we scored our lucky goal, what did we do after that? Apart from the chance that the goal scorer had missed initially, because before he scored the goal, there was a chance that he missed. After those two,
for time's sake, sorry, Buddha, for time's sake, so we can let everybody in. I'm gonna have to jump in there. Let me bring in Pushida. How are you?
What's he?
1-1. How do you feel about this game?
You know, there's points that I want to make right in this platform. So it is evidence that, you know what, first of all, the hate that is being directed right now at Tito, you know, it's got nothing to do with his performance in the game, right? This is before I go to the actual game. I just want to address this. So you can see a lot of people are still hurt, to be honest, OT. You know, a lot of people are still angry. And a lot of people are still angry at the fact that Pirates has been winning a lot of cups. So this hate that is coming from Tito, there's not even one person who can show you a video where Tito fumbled in that game. Right. But you can see Tito has been trending the whole day today on TikTok, on Facebook, everywhere is trending. That is the main reason. Okay, coming back to the game, right? You asked one question, if we've got a plan B. There is no plan B. So if you look at all the games that Bafana Bafana has played on these synthetic pitches, we always struggle. It started with the Rwanda. Even with South Sudan, the most useless South Sudan, we almost drew that game, and we scored the winner at the last minute, right? And because we were playing at a synthetic pitch, a team that does not do well anyway, we almost drew that game. Even in this game, it was evident that the pitch is small, and for the fact that the pitch is small, the Bafana Bafana players don't have what we call BMT. You see, when they are put under pressure, and it's been happening for years, Bafana Bafana players don't have that fighting spirit to make it out of bad situations, to really grind it out. So we find ourselves every time, whenever we are faced to a situation where we have to grind, unfortunately they collapse because they can't battle with these other African teams, because those guys, most of the time, they don't even have skill in their teams, but they've got what we call a fighting spirit. They fight for every ball, they run hard. And that's why most of the time we always found one team. So you look at a player like Roland Williams. I mean, is there even a need for that type of football? Every time when he gets the ball, right, you're not only slowing down the game, but you're also killing the momentum of the players that are supposed to be receiving the ball from you so they can attack. So when you wait there, body-wise, you see the body language of our players, it also drops as well, because they know you're going to hold the ball, you're going to wait, and the moment you start playing the ball, already it starts at a slow pace. And when you play in such small pitches against a team that's going to press you hard, you are bound to make errors. And he made a couple of errors in that game due to that type of football, right? And coming into the middle field, Mokwena played one of his worst games I've ever seen him play, either for Mamelodi Sundowns or for Bafana Bafana. He wasn't pressing. There was one ball where the Congo was attacking, and he was literally just jogging, you know, instead of pressing and helping in defense, he's just jogging behind the guy that is running towards our goal. I don't know if you saw that. That is a player who his body language was not even at a state where he's willing to fight, and that is where we lost it. And I understand when people say when Zwane went out, the game died. But if you go and watch that game again, after we scored the goal, Congo had about 20 minutes of control before they scored the goal. That's when even when they scored the unallowed goal, during that time, 20 minutes Congo was controlling Bafana Bafana, even with Zwane in that. I want people to analyze sometimes. Don't analyze the game based on who you support, who's your favorite player, but analyze what is actually. Look at the game and what was happening after we scored the goal. Congo took control of the game. And they started attacking us. They scored a goal. Unfortunately, a legit goal. It was disallowed. You don't know what happened there. And then they eventually scored the goal. But from that time, we never took control of the game. And it was not even because Zwane was there or he was not. And then I want to ask another question, right? That is a problem that is directed at Hugo. Hugo is a problem. Hugo is not a good coach, unfortunately, right? Hugo... right now, unfortunately, what helps him is the fact that he's playing Mamelodi Sundowns players that are oiled and have got a particular way of playing that has been winning in the continent. And that's what he wrote on during the AFCON. So every time when he introduces a new player in the squad, he introduces a player that does not become effective. And I want to give you an example with someone like Apollo, someone that everyone is raving about, right? To me, Apollos is not even better than Mufukeng. But because Apollos plays for Polokwane, take Apollos right now and take him to Kaizer Chiefs, he becomes another Pule Modi. I'm telling you. Take Mokwena right now, take him to Kaizer Chiefs or another Pirates, he becomes another... jumping just now, You get what I'm saying? So unfortunately, Hugo Broos is like a kid that whenever he gets a new toy, right, a toy that is not proven whether it's strong or it's soft, he throws it in. The same thing he did with Ngezana. You know, Broos never analyzed Ngezana's game before he brought him into Bafana. He just looked at the fact that the guy plays in Romania, but he didn't look at his play, how he played
Pushida.
Went.
For time. Unfortunately, I've just gone overtime. Apologies. Guys, Monday to Thursday, 7 p.m. If you have not followed, please follow. We have very great conversations here on this channel. Thank you to everybody that has been in the comments and in the panels. If you want to join the panels, like I said, you have to follow. And then multi-guest at the bottom of your screen. You'll be able to jump in when we are open. Guys, I have 2 hours here. I've gone over. But all of these are available in full on YouTube and on Facebook. On YouTube, you'll be able to watch all of our previous episodes in full on YouTube. We've had some incredible conversations. It's not just match reviews. The last thing that I just want to leave with, honestly speaking, I think let's not scapegoat people. The defense is not bad because one player is bad. Maybe bad because the system is bad. And that has a lot of people who have to take responsibility for those things. A player coming in may not do the things that we think that player wants to do, but let's also take into account a lot of the other things that happen around these players and when they have to play. So when we analyze and speak about these things, I think let's put away our club affiliation, guys. Let's put away our club affiliations, but then also let's put away this thing of blaming players. There's so much talk about Tito, somebody who didn't play that much of the game. There's so much talk about Obas, who maybe did a little bit better in the second half. There's so much talk about all of these different players. But maybe we should be looking at the systems that the players come in and maybe not go directly at players. Let's speak about the whole thing. Their parts, the other parts, and all of that stuff. For example, I think Dotli and Gekana and even Gezan at times struggle because Mudawu pushes up. You saw in the second half that Mudawu was playing a more conservative role there. We didn't look as bad from direct play type of through balls type of situations because now you had a bit of discipline at the back. Obas, when the game was slowing down and they could sit back, looked great at those times. So there's a lot of things that influence how these guys play and the things that they do. But let's analyze, man, for analysis sake, not for attacking people or speaking about stuff. Criticizing Bafana doesn't mean you want Hugo Broos to be gone. Loving Bafana Bafana doesn't mean that Hugo Broos does nothing wrong. Criticizing some players doesn't mean that those players are the worst players in the world. Sometimes somebody might do something well later on. Sometimes when they do some things well, it doesn't mean that they were the best players on the pitch. So let's also, when we have these conversations, look at it from those type of views. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Tomorrow is the members show. So I'll still be live, but you'll be listening to audio that's coming from our WhatsApp group. There's an official Overthinking Football WhatsApp group. If you go to YouTube, click on subscribe and click on join, then go to the members area. There's a link that can take you to the WhatsApp group, and you can have conversations with me, with Bo Agent, Bo Velile, with Bo Malumekuzo. There's a bunch of people that you hear here a lot of times where we have 24/7, and we can go back and forth with videos, voice notes, messages, pictures. It's an incredible place to banter, to have fun, but also to learn. A wonderful, wonderful, wonderful WhatsApp group where there isn't 2-hour limits there. So if you want to join and continue on these conversations and have conversations with some really, truly amazing people, just head on over to YouTube, click on subscribe, click on join, and you'll be able to go there. Thank you so much to Tumsani, Papa Khosi for the massive support, Matiz, Gocha, Lulu, the boss lady, Malume Kutso, TJ. Thank you so much for the gifts on that side. We didn't quite get there, but I love what we've done here. And Saturday. So tomorrow we'll be here for the member show. Saturday, I'm going to be with you from 3 o'clock all the way until 10. It's going to be 7 hours of us watching football together. Really, really excited for that. Thank you so much for the support. Support the content as well. Share the videos. I put out content on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube. Share the videos, comment, like, do all of those very nice things. It really does help with the support, guys. It's been incredible. I'll see you then tomorrow at 7 p.m. Bye, everyone.